So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Bicycling Lunch and Learn. Today's topic is about community rides and how to find groups to ride with. And we've got 4 different groups that are going to talk about the different rides that they're doing. We're going to start with Black Girls Do Bike Indy. Then we'll have Bike Indianapolis go, and then the National Road Heritage Trail go, and then CIBA. And if Nathaniel joins us from Bike United, we'll have him talk about their rides as well. So I'm going to share Sherry's screen at this point for Black Girls Do Bike. And I will let each of the presenters introduce themselves and their group and whatever else they want to say.
Hello, thank you, Connie, and thank you everyone for joining today with the Lunch and Learn. My name is Sherry, and I am with Black Girls Do Bike. Black Girls Do Bike is a nonprofit organization where contributions are tax deductible, so we're excited about that. The little history about the group: it was founded in 2013 by Monica Garrison out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I found a need for the group in Indy and started the chapter in Indianapolis, Indiana in June of 2014. You can go to the next slide, Connie. It's a fun picture of myself. I'm the Shiro. Some of my roles in the group include facilitating the group, making sure everything goes well, leading bike rides, and skill sharing, and also motivating our ride leaders. Next slide. Our ride leaders are here: Tanya, Stephanie, and Jackie. I'm really grateful to have these ladies on board because they help facilitate the rides. They're really knowledgeable with bike handling skills and things like that. I have a few slides that show some pictures of our group rides, and you can just kind of go through those. That was a fun ride we had. We ride in the cold. You see a picture there. We all bundled up. That was the Indianapolis night ride, really fun ride. So those are some of the rides that we do. And when you look for, we're on social media. That's how you'll find most of our rides, any forms of social media, starting with Black Girls Do Bike. But when people reach out, they want to know what kind of rides do we have. So what we do is label the rides. So then that way, no one is surprised when they come out for our bike rides. All this is listed on our website and through Facebook. So someone may start out saying, you know, I'm a beginner. I'm going to start with the short and sassy ride, and by the end of the biking season, move on to the fierce and fabulous and doing way more miles than they ever imagined. So that's something that I love to see with individuals that join the bike group. The next slide. Some of the ways that we can be contacted. Again, I said we're on every form of social media. We have a mail to address. We have blackgirlsdobike.com. If you're ever wanting to connect with different different chapters, you can always go to the location and find Black Girls Do Bike in several cities. There are over 100 chapters. There's a chapter in London, England that just celebrated 1 year. And then our contact information for the Indianapolis, Indiana chapter is through Facebook. And that's where you'll find most of our rides. We try to facilitate at least one group ride a month, but several ladies ride on a regular basis. If for some reason you're not on social media, we do have an email address, which is listed here, bgdbindy@gmail.com. And someone usually responds to those emails within 24 to 48 hours. So we're looking to get more ladies out biking and collaborating with different bike groups throughout the city. We're excited that the season is starting. Some of the things that we like to do is to provide a comfortable place where new and cyclists can come together to support one another, organize rides, promote skill sharing, and we're constantly seeking the bike curious and individuals that like to bike. So you know, if you would like to connect with Black Girls Do Bike, social media is a way, or email us. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. I stopped sharing her. So now we'll go ahead and have Lane talk about the community rides in with Bike Indianapolis.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Connie. As Connie mentioned, I am representing Bike Indianapolis today. Damon, our executive director, is also on the line. So he'll jump in with anything I miss, but I'm gonna go ahead and I can share my screen with, I just have one slide I created, specifically talking about our rides. Bike Indianapolis is Indianapolis's bike advocacy organization. So we have a three-pillared approach, which is advocacy, education, and ride programming. Today, I'm really focusing on just the ride programming side, where you all can get involved in different community rides and riding events that we do. But if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing in terms of advocacy and education, we'll be in the spotlight on bicycling next Monday with Connie as well. But specifically talking about rides first, Bike Indianapolis hosts a lot of different type of rides, specifically focused on very casual. We're not doing a lot of long rides. Our community rides are kind of like a cornerstone. Those you'll see in this top image here in the upper left-hand corner. That's actually from the Near East Side ride, which is the community ride that I went on because it's in my neighborhood all last summer. Those start in May and go all the way through until October, November. I know we stopped ours just because it was starting to get dark as we were going on our ride. So we decided for safety reasons to stop through the winter, but we're excited to get that one started again. But these are neighborhood rides, very casual, where they meet every week. John Franklin Hayes was our ride leader for that. If you're interested in starting your own community ride, I do have a link down here at the bottom of this page, or you can look on our website at bikeindianapolis.org to learn about just how to start your own community ride in your own neighborhood. These are really casual, usually no more than 5-mile rides. John liked to stop and tell a lot of stories as we're on these rides. So it's very much a like come as you are. I know I was very frequently riding over right after work in the clothes that I wore to work. So that's definitely a very accessible form of community ride for people. We also have the Bike Buddies program, which if you're not looking for a group ride, but looking for more just one-on-one kind of ride education, this is a program we do through or with Commuter Connect, where we partner new riders with more experienced riders here in Central Indiana. So if you're maybe not feeling super comfortable in your riding skills to join a larger community ride or a neighborhood ride, this is a great option where you can sign up to kind of learn the basics and the tips and tricks for riding here in Central Indiana. And we have a webpage for that as well if you're interested in signing up for that. We're looking for both new riders who are wanting to sign up and also experienced riders right now who are interested in just once a week taking new riders out for a bike ride. Once again, these are pretty short rides, very, very casual at a conversational pace. So that's kind of our bread and butter is like this very casual rides just around the neighborhood. But then we also have larger event rides. I'm sure you're all very familiar with Bike to the 500. We also had Bike to the Ballpark recently, which are these large rides. We're anticipating hundreds of people for Bike to the 500. But these are large group rides that you can see down there on that bottom left-hand corner, where a lot of community members come together, and then we all host bike valet at larger events like this. So you can keep up to date with those kind of like large event rides at our Eventbrite, which that link is down there at the bottom of the page. But for things like our community rides and our Bike Buddies, which are a little bit more casual, a little bit more small scale, and I'd say maybe more intimate, you kind of get to know the people you're on those rides with a little bit better than a large ride like that. You can find that on our sign up link there. But that's all I have in terms of rides.
Can I add one thing there?
Yeah, sure.
In addition to those rides that Lane just talked about, we also maintain a calendar on our website that is not just rides that Bike Indianapolis is doing, but any ride that's going on in the community that people let us know about. So if you have a ride and you want people to join it, if you send a calendar invitation to events@bikeindianapolis.org, with the details in the description of the invite, that will get listed on our website so that others can join your rides. So that's a good place to look if you're looking for a group ride.
Yeah, the other thing I'm going to ask the presenters to do is any links that are in your presentations, if you can type them into, Sherry, I've got your links, so don't worry about it. But Lane, if you can type those links into the chat, then I will be, once I load this up to the YouTube channel, I'll put those in the descriptions as well. So people will be able to link to click on them if they watch it later. Okay, so I will go next to Greg Midgley.
Okay, I'll share my screen here. And let's see. Are you seeing a map with the National Road Heritage Trail logo on your screen?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, oh, there we go. Oh, I can do that.
Now it's starting. Yep,
Okay.
now we see it.
So on my screen, it's blocking out the, well, it's fine. That shows all the important information. So National Road Heritage Trail Incorporated is a 501c3 not-for-profit. We've been working for about 17 years promoting and facilitating interconnection of a series of bike trails across the center of the state, roughly paralleling the historic National Road, to eventually create a 160-mile long continuous separated path bike trail. And this map here shows in the green the areas where the trails are currently open, and where we're working to try to promote and help local organizations develop extensions to those to get them more interconnected. And it's primarily being done by the cities and towns, the different trail sections locally. And our activity is to promote them connecting to the adjacent communities and helping out with local not-for-profits where they need help to get that developed. So as part of our promotion, as more and more trails got developed over the years, it got to be where there's enough where you could have some pretty good rides on there. And so to promote and to raise awareness of this initiative and the trails that are out there, we've organized for several years now monthly bike rides on each of the open sections. And so what I show here in the middle of the screen here is our series of monthly rides that we're doing this year. In a couple of weeks, we'll be doing a Hendricks County ride where we go, we start in Plainfield and we ride all the way across the county. So part of this ride is on county roads and about half the ride is on trails. And these are informal, they're not, they're free rides. And they have the objective, and they range from 40 miles is the first one to the shortest one is about 18 miles, just depends on the trails that are available. And it's not a fast pace, it's sort of moderate to easy pace. We want to encourage people to, this is an event to provide people a way to get out to explore a trail for the first time that maybe they feel more comfortable doing that with a group rather than going to a new trail for the first time. And just to show them the connectivity across the state. It also keeps us, every year we're going back to see every trail to see how the progress is. So it has two objectives there. And so that takes us from April through September on all the different sections and trails across the state. 4 of these are on paved trails, and 2 of these are stone or natural surface. So there's different types of bikes that you might use on the different rides. I have our website here. We have Facebook events created for each of these rides. So that's an easy way to find the details and to even indicate your interest, but there's no need to register for these rides. Then on a more local basis in Hendricks County, the Vandalia Trail is the local part of this National Road Heritage Trail Initiative in Hendricks County. And we do weekly rides from May through September on Tuesday evenings, alternating between Plainfield and the Western Hendricks County part of the trail. And so those are shorter rides and more casual, but every Tuesday evening, starting at 6:30. And again, the website and Facebook pages have the details for these events. And we're very happy to, and we've been working to get, especially the monthly rides, more visibility sort of being advertised on convention and visitor bureau sites. And Bike Indianapolis, I know there's been some rides in the past we've had listed there, and I'd like to, I'll get in touch with you to see about, see if we can get these listed there as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate the information I'm hearing from the other groups too.
All right, great. And then next I will have John South, and I think Kevin Patterson also joined. So whichever one of the two of you wants to speak, that'd be great. This would be about Central Indiana Bicycling Association.
Yeah, I can go ahead and start. Thank you, Connie. Yeah, the Central Indiana Bicycling Association is one of the oldest bicycling clubs, I think, here in Indianapolis. Last year, we celebrated our 50th anniversary. But we're tonight, this afternoon, focusing on rides and where to gain access to rides and so forth. CIBA has a fairly comprehensive ride calendar with numerous types of rides on it. The typical ride is a weekend ride, which we try to schedule one for every weekend of the summer. And then there's a variety of weekday rides, or what we call repeating rides, which often will happen 1, 2, or 3 times a week. And they will continue all through the summer. We also offer things like ice cream rides, dinner rides, grand touring rides. Connie's familiar with those, having led numerous ones of those. So they're all listed on the CIBA calendar. You can reach that at cibaride.org. Some of the impromptu rides do pop up on occasionally on the CIBA Facebook page. You can again go to Facebook and find that under CIBA. But a couple comments I'd like to make in regard to new riders. As I get these questions now and then, both as a ride leader and as president of CIBA, someone contacts me and says, I'm new to the area, or I'm a new rider, and I'm interested in participating in such and such a ride. My advice is to contact the ride leader. That information is always listed with the ride itself. You can ask about if there's a mentor available. You can certainly ask about the typical speed, that sort of thing of the ride itself. You can introduce yourself to the ride leader, make a quick friend that way. But I think it's a good way to kind of break the ice and get yourself involved with a particular ride. Don't be bashful at the start of a ride to introduce yourself as a new rider to the area. I think we all know as riders, we like to have partners. We like to have people that live in the same area that we do, so we can go out on a weekday night or whenever, Saturday afternoon, when maybe another ride is not listed or you're not available for it. You can get together with a fellow bike rider and go out and enjoy yourselves as a partnership. So yeah, it takes a little effort sometimes to meet new people, get contact information and so forth. But particularly if you're new to the area, that's one way to outreach and make those contacts. The other way I'm going to suggest that you can learn and get to know the organization and get to know other riders is to volunteer. CIBA sponsors the Hilly 100. We share in the responsibility for Pedal and Park, the night ride. The Ride of Silence is coming up in May. There was a trail cleanup that we helped sponsor a couple of weeks ago. There's also obviously board membership, and you can reach out and sponsor a ride or be a ride leader yourself. These are all ways of more intimately meeting and getting to know other bike riders in the community, and being part of the community and not just show up for a ride and go home. And Kevin, I don't know if you had any other remarks.
I think, John, I think you summed it up really well. I think the best thing that we can do is, to encourage each other to get out, no matter what organization it is, to get out and enjoy Indiana, enjoy cycling in Indiana, and get out with friends and have a good time in these wonderful environments that we all offer.
Okay, awesome. So we went through everybody within 25 minutes, which is pretty quick. So I'm going to open it up to questions. I have a couple of comments. There were several comments in the chat. So let me pull that up. And someone actually had a good experience with the Bike Buddy program. So that's really cool to hear. And yeah, so the Ride of Silence, we are in the midst of planning the Ride of Silence. Dolly Craft and I are kind of leading that charge. It will be on Wednesday, May 18th. The Ride of Silence is a ride to honor the memories of bicyclists that have been injured or killed in the previous year. And this year's Ride of Silence will be on, we'll be starting at Bicycle Garage Indy North and heading towards the Monon and 86th Street and then returning. So if you're interested in participating in that, save the date. If you're interested in helping with planning that, let me know. You can either drop your email in chat, or I'll put my email in chat and you can email me directly if you're interested in participating in that. There are lots of many varieties of different rides and different ways to get involved bicycling. And as you just heard, these are just a sampling of them. There also are, somebody put in the chat, meetup groups. Bicycle Garage Indy is a sponsor of the meetup groups that are in Indianapolis. There are 3 different ones. There's women's cycling, there's Indy cycling meetup group, and then there's a mountain bike meetup group that BGI sponsors. So any different events that, or rides that you might want to look for there. And then there's, I don't think Nathaniel made it, but there's a Bikes United group that also has rides on the weekends. And it's primarily, it's a co-ed group, similar to Black Girls Do Bike, mostly Black cyclists, but it's open to everybody. I went and visited their ride this last Sunday. I didn't ride with them, but I went and said hi to all of them, and they had a nice group of people gonna ride on Fall Creek Trail, and they had a great time. So anyway, I will open this up to questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself or type them in the chat, and we will do that. We'll take care of that. Let's see. And I'm going to type my email in the chat so that if you want to contact me. Oh, I didn't do the preamble. The Bicycling Lunch and Learns are sponsored by Central Indiana Bicycling Association, Bicycle Garage Indy, Bike Indianapolis, Commuter Connect, and the YMCA. It's a community outreach that we do on a monthly basis. We hold these on the second Thursday of the month, from 12 to noon, or from 12 to 1. So look in the calendars of all of those groups, as well as if you've already registered, you probably will get an email about it as well. So, we've got great topics coming up, and we look forward to seeing everybody in future ones as well. So I will see if there's.
Connie, I have a couple of other comments, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Things that I've thought about a little bit. One, I wanted to mention that as a CIBA member, you would have access to a large variety of route maps that people have cycled all over central Indiana. And say you want to do it yourself, or you have several friends that want to get together and go down south of Indianapolis to ride some hills, do something a little different. Those maps are available to download and give you some route possibilities to be able to do. Also, if you were on a ride and you'd like to repeat it sometime in the future, again, you could go to our map selection and download that map of the ride and go out and do it on your own or with a group. The other thing I wanted to mention, maybe explain a little bit better, is the repeating rides, which is probably the greatest quantity of rides that CIBA offers during the summer. And those are the ones that reoccur on a weekly basis. And what you'll find is that the same group of riders typically shows up each week. And so it's a good way to get to know people, since you're frequently meeting with them instead of once a month or whatever. So it's a great way to, like I say, meet other people and join in some of their activities.
Awesome. Yeah, I also wanted to mention ridespot.org, which Bicycle Garage Indy and Bike Indianapolis have put several curated routes on. So if you're looking for places to ride, and the routes that Bicycle Garage Indy has put on there usually are 5 to 15 miles in length, for the more targeted towards people who are just getting into bicycling or want someplace other than their neighborhood to ride in. And so we've got several rides there, but we also have challenges encouraging people to ride 5, 10, 15, 20 times a month, or a certain number of miles, or share their stories about their riding. So we've got several challenges that are going on as well. It's free to join. And it gives turn-by-turn instructions for the different routes that are on there, similar to some of the other ride apps that you would get. So it's a program from People for Bikes, and we've been involved actually with RideSpot from the beginning. I could go into a whole program about that, but I won't at this point. But if you're looking to either add rides, you can add your own rides as well to that. And so I will put that in there for right now. And I think we've got, so does anybody else have any questions or additional things that you would like to say from the presenters?
This is Sherry with Black Girls Do Bike, and I just wanted to mention that all of our rides are free as well. So again, we're just looking for opportunities to collaborate with other biking groups and to get more individuals out biking this biking season.
Great. Let's see. see, Kevin, Lane or Damon, did you have anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Damon logged off, but I did want to mention the first national Major Taylor Invitational ride is going to be in Indianapolis. Connie, you might know the dates better than me, but
I think it's in June.
I think it's the 17th to the 19th.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe 18th to 20th, very like Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of deal. But there's going to be a lot of programming happening with that. You can find more information about that on our site specifically. We have a whole section dedicated that'll link you to the Major Taylor Cycling Club of Central Indiana and that large invitational ride. I know that's going to have multiple long distance rides, casual rides, but that's an event where or not every, but a lot of Major Taylor cycling clubs from across the country are going to be coming here to Indy for the first national ride. There'll be a whole exhibit happening at the State Museum right now. And there's going to be one night where everyone who's here for that ride is welcome to come, and they're going to have like a small like gala like event. So I would encourage you all to look into that. Unfortunately, Damon's the one who's planning a lot of that, so I don't have the information, but he had to dip out early. But that's another one of our rides coming up. And then if you want to hear more about Bike Indy, we'll be at the Spotlight on Bicycling on Monday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so I will put the link to the Spotlight on bicycling, so that if you want to register for that, you can do that. And so it's basically BGI's website /4/spotlight. We have those on monthly basis on the third, I guess it's the third Monday of the month at 7 p.m. And we're going to be highlighting Bike Indianapolis this month and all of their different activities that they do. If you would like to be featured, if you have an organization that you would like to be featured on Spotlight on Bicycling, let me know, because I'm always looking for other things to feature. We did feature the Major Taylor exhibit at the State Museum I think it was in February. It was just a couple weeks before they opened in March. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage people to do that. It's going to be open until the end of October. But there's a lot of really cool Major Taylor stuff going on right now with the Major Taylor meetup, the Major Taylor mural, the exhibit at the State Museum, and which is, all of that is long overdue for Major Taylor. So anyway, let's see. And Sherry, are you involved with the Major Taylor meetup?
I've been on a part of the committee with volunteering and things like that. So I'm really excited about the opportunity for all the bike groups to come together, and just means a lot for the city. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so and just from a standpoint, like John mentioned, the Grand Touring rides, my husband is the Grand Touring ride chair for Central Indiana Bicycling Association, and in pre-pandemic years we would lead about 7 different rides a year, and those are usually longer distance rides, usually an hour or 2 away from Indianapolis. So they usually go to some kind of interesting place or some restaurant. Food is always good. But we have 3 rides, have had 3 rides that start in Columbus, Indiana, and head out into the country roads in Brown County and Bartholomew County. We have 3 rides that start in Metamora, Indiana, and go into the country roads around there, and 1 that's in Kentucky. So we've got the maps for those on the Grand Touring Ride website, which if I can figure out how, I'll put a link in that if I can figure out how to get that, but so those are, we've got all sorts of, CIBA has all sorts of different rides. They have fast-paced rides, slow-paced rides, they have grand touring rides, pretty much anything that you would want to do. And then there's a lot of other groups that have started, rides that are specifically geared to be as welcoming as possible and getting as many people riding as possible. So I don't know if Greg is still here. Greg, are you still here? Is anything else you want to add?
Well, I could add a couple more notes on our monthly National Road Heritage Trail rides. A part of the initiative is to kind of get a flavor of the local culture of each area as well, since it's in different parts of the state. So at the end of the ride, we always make sure to go to a local restaurant that's unique to that area, or local refreshments are part of each of the rides. As well, on our websites, we also list the rides that are being done by local groups along the National Road corridor, such as National Road Bicycle Club in Terre Haute. They have rides, and so we'll list them on our website, and Healthy Communities of Henry County for their fundraising rides for their trail development in that area. So besides our rides, our website can also show you other opportunities for group rides along that corridor. So those are a couple of other additional notes.
Great. And I'm putting in a link to the Grand Touring Ride info for CIBA. We're not currently have any scheduled for this year, but that has the previous descriptions, previous rides, previous maps. So if you're looking for doing something a little bit outside of the central Indiana area to explore, that's also a good resource. And I think if nobody else has any questions, I don't see anything.
I'll make a shameful plug here, shameless plug. I also belong to the Central Indiana Wilderness Club, who primarily is a backpacking, canoeing club, but they also do some cycling as well. We're sponsoring just a weekend trip on the Cardinal Greenway this spring. We're also sponsoring a trip on the Gap Trail, Pittsburgh to Cumberland, Maryland, a 5-day trip, and toward the end of May. Those are obviously overnighters. We typically camp. Costs are fairly low. So if we do have one spot remaining on that particular trip, the Gap Trail, and toward the end of May. So you could go to the Central Indiana Wilderness Club, CIWC club.org to find out more.
All right, so I'm putting that in the chat as well. There's a plethora of places, all sorts of different groups and places that you can get plugged into to bicycle. So there's no real excuse not to get out bicycling and find great places to ride. And all of us here who have been leading rides for many years are very happy to share all of our information and get more people riding. So at this point, I will go ahead and close this off, and thanks to everyone for joining us. I will be posting this up on BGI's YouTube channel, and the links will be in the, I'll put that in, let's see, it'll be indybikehub.org site. Will have the calendar, so you can look at the calendar to get the link for this and previous programs. And hope to see everybody at Spotlight on Monday and in future Lunch and Learns. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you hopefully next month.
Thank you very much, Connie and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.